Hey guys, welcome to EuroLeague Fantasy Talks. In this episode, we'll talk about BasketNews EuroLeague Fantasy. We will talk about preparation for round 14 and mostly focusing on budget growing and price growing stats. And this is my team from round 13. I got a total of 172 fantasy points and I added another million to my budget, mostly with contributions from TG Shorts, Maledon, Petrushev, and Tavares. Edwards needed a lot to grow in price and he didn't reach his save zone, so that's why he dropped. But it's inevitable if you take top scoring guys, as we cannot always grow in price. At some point we will have those bumps where we will have to drop their price. Anyways, let's check how much these guys need to score in the next round, in round 14, not to drop their price then. And actually that's what I was talking about. A lot of them need to score around 20 or more. Only Shorts is safe with 5. He definitely should score that. Maledon, even with -6, he will not drop his price. And Tavares, 3 fantasy points is his safe zone. And other guys need to score a good amount of points. So, of course, we will not be able, but let's go and trade some of them out. So actually, I decided to trade out Vezenkov because he has the worst price growing stats. And even if he will score, let's say, around 20, he would still drop his price. So I'm selling him. Actually, I had 3 Olympiacos guys, Vezenkov, Milutinov, and Fournier, which was not super smart of me because what are the odds that 3 players from the same team will have a great performance? Yes, there is if they were actually the leaders. But yeah, let's reduce the number of Olympiacos to 1 actually. I will also trade out Fournier because he will play against Paris, and Paris seem to also be good in defense. When it comes to Milutinov, Mustafa Fall seems to have also injury together with Moses Wright, so it might only be Milutinov that is left, together with Vezenkov and Peters and Papanikolaou in the front court. So yeah, I mean, he definitely should have his role now against Paris. And let's see how we can stop Milutinov. Hopefully he will have a better game than he had against Monaco. And I will also sell Jabari Parker, even the matchup is actually good against Maccabi, who are bad on defense, but I really want to get 2 other forwards, and I need 1 more spot for that. And the 2 forwards that I want to get are Nikola Mirotic. I simply preferred Mirotic over Vezenkov because the matchup seems better. Asvel is not as good in defense as Paris are, and also Milan will also play at home, so Mirotic should do his job as a leader of the team. And for the other forward, I will get Alpha Diallo from Monaco. It seems that Spanoulis really appreciates Diallo and gives him a much bigger role in offense. So, and now we are playing against Alba Berlin, in which Diallo should prove again how good he is in offense, and I expect 20 plus fantasy points from him, and also W, which would give 10 extra percent. And for my guard, I will pick Carlik Jones. It was only a matter of time till we picked Carlik Jones. It's because I liked him in the beginning, but then the only problem was that with Željko and uncertain rotations, he was not as proven. But then in his last 3 games, he got 32 fantasy points against Žalgiris, 27.5 against Olympiacos, and almost 30 against Zvezda. So now he's playing against Spao, but again, it's in Stark Arena in Belgrade, so of course Spao is not an easy team, but Carlik is now guaranteed his role in the team. So the only problem maybe would be the double week, and just to mention the price growing stats of Carlik Jones needs to score more than -9.6, so he has a big save zone, so he definitely will grow his price. When it comes to Mirotic, he needs to score 4.1 fantasy point, so if everything he scores more than that will increase his price, so that's also a good stat. And Diallo has the best stats of them all. Even with -21, he would still grow his price, so that is also the reason why I traded 3 guys that will have hard time growing their price and got 3 guys that should definitely grow in price. And to talk about other guys, Petrushev, for example, he didn't play so much and he had one of the biggest plus-minus of his team. He had -20. It just seemed that it was not his night with the technical and everything, and because Davidovac and Mitrovic seemed to have been working better against Milan, even if they lost. So I'm pretty sure we just gave resting minutes for Petrushev, knowing that they will have to play Virtus and it's a double week. So it's not a problem to give him a rest, and I think now he should get his usual minutes playing against Virtus, and we know Virtus is a really struggling team, so he should have a blast there, so I still believe in him, and that's why I kept him. Edwards will play at home, and at home Bayern is much better, so Edwards as the main scorer of the team, he just should continue what he's doing. Shorts is just too good of a player, and so I'm really curious how he will play against Oli. Of course, Oli have good defense, but let's see now with the center situation how we will deal with that. Lidé is playing against Asvel, so definitely a good matchup, and Maledon is just overall leader of the team. So let's now go check price growing stats for other players, starting with 10 best fantasy points average players in each position. So the top 10 centers, we don't really change much, but of course their stats change every game week because of the amount of points we score. So for example, Lesor needs to score 10 fantasy points not to drop his price. Milutinov, we saw 20, Tavares 2.8. Devin Booker, which had a crazy game, he needs to score 22, so that's the stats and that's the reality. The 3 best picks for price growing is Tavares, Donta Hall, and Geoffrey Laverne. Sako I don't recommend because he is not having such a great role at the moment. And yeah, that's the other stats you can check. And let's go to forwards. Forwards, the best pick, that's why we picked Diallo. Mirt is also great, so hence the picks. I think Sedekerskis is also very good and should give a good amount of points against Bayern. Tariq Jones, depends how many minutes he gets. He got a lot of minutes because of Davis' injury in the game against Žalgiris. Moneka needs to score more than 18 fantasy points not to drop his price. And Nigel Hayes-Davis 42.7. When it comes to guards, Campazzo needs to score 12 fantasy points. Kendrick Nunn 16. Mike James 17. So those are the thresholds that we need to score. Punter still needs to score a lot, so he should still continue dropping his price. Cobb is also good with 4.4 against Alba. That's the threshold he needs to overcome. And if Larkin plays, then he needs to score 17.1 not to drop his price. And let's now go check other players that are not necessarily in top 10 averages by fantasy points, but we simply have the best price growing stats in each position. So these are the centers for round 14 that have the best price growing stats. Not so many great centers, but McCormack with minus 15, he would still grow his price, although it will not grow so much because he's super cheap. So it's just percentage-wise, he will not grow so much. Donta Hall, on the other hand, he can increase your budget by a good margin. Van Diouf from Virtus Bologna is also good. Osmani, if he would score when it's more than -1, then he would not drop his price. Turek, Kratze, among others, and Sorkin for point. Scores more than 4, he should grow in price. Actually, I see that I added Mustafa Fall, but then I learned that he's injured, so actually be careful, don't pick Mustafa Fall. So take your own risk if picking Mustafa Fall, but he might be injured. But if he doesn't play, that stat will still stay for the whichever next round he will play. And forwards, of course, is Diallo, Rogovopoulos, Peters, Blossom Game. Those are the best picks. Also Clyburn with -2.6, he would not drop his price. And let's go to guards. And guards, there is a good bunch of guards. Lonnie Walker with -31 will not drop his price, so actually very good pick. His game is like a roller coaster, so not all his games are great. So it's of course a risky pick, but it's not so risky from a budget standpoint of view because he would still grow his price. And yeah, Juan Nunez with -7 would not drop his price. Obst, he got around 2 fantasy points, I think. So yeah, he can go up or down. Also a risky pick when it comes to shooters like Obst. And Nikomanyan with -6.4, he would still not drop his price. And at the end we have Sterling with -3.3. I didn't add any others because it's the best ones that fit into the screen. And for more content on EuroLeague Fantasy, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.